we're going to Africa. We're going to talk about the Lightning Network with Megasley, who runs Africa Free Routing, or Free Routing rather, if you're American. This talk is where the theory meets the real world. We're talking unstable grids, unreliable internet, and capital controls. And yet, some of the most creative builders anywhere are finding ways to make Bitcoin work in everyday life. Megasley is one of those builders in Central West Africa who is inspiring many other Africans, and myself, not African, but you still inspire me, Megasley, to do cool stuff with Bitcoin and Bitcoin Lightning. His talk is going to dive into the African Lightning Testbed. Hopefully we're going to get a whistle-top tour across the entire continent. And to deliver that talk is Megasley, who is the General Manager of Africa Free Routing. So please welcome Megasley to the stage this afternoon. Welcome. Take it away.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hi, guys. Good afternoon. I think before I get started, I'd like to greet you guys with the way we do it in Nigeria. I'm actually from Nigeria, and to greet people, we usually say, how far? And if I say how far, you say, I did. Are you ready? How far? Thank you very much for that. All right, so my name is Megasley, as you've rightly heard. I work with Africa Free Routing. And today I'll be talking to you guys about something I've actually been really, really excited about lately, what we've been doing in Africa Free Routing. I was here in 2023, so this is my second time in Lugano. I was also standing on this exact stage to talk about what we were doing at the time. And I'm going to walk you guys through the progress we've had so far. And you know, usually when it comes to Africa, when we talk about tech in Africa, most people, especially people in the West, they always imagine that Africans are actually catching up, right? But you see, with Bitcoin and Lightning, it is different. It's not the same story, actually. Africans need Bitcoin, and we've actually realized that. The good thing is we've realized that early, and we've been doing a lot of stuff to actually make this a reality on our own side. We've been testing the future of money, and that is what I'm going to walk you guys through today. So before I get into the main deal of the day, let me just blab a little bit about myself. My name is Megasley, as I've said, and I am one of the pioneering team members of African Bitcoiners. If you have been following the Bitcoin ecosystem in Africa, you may have come across African Bitcoiners once or twice, or maybe you've seen our infographic, that little map of Africa that includes projects and companies that are Lightning projects and companies that are from Africa. So that's a project from us. We actually exist to guide Africans, majorly to learn about Bitcoin. So we onboard Africans that do not know about Bitcoin. We start from the very grassroots up to the point where they'll be able to self-custody their Bitcoin. And we've been doing that in 2023. And I am also currently the general manager at Africa Free Routing. And Africa Free Routing is basically just a product, one of our products from African Bitcoiners. And we exist just to advance the adoption of Lightning Network in Africa. I'll take you guys back to the foundation, how we actually started Africa Free Routing, right? So the idea was born when we saw that there was a lot of talks around Bitcoin. People were building stuff on Bitcoin, but then when you look at the Lightning part of things, we saw that we were lagging behind. There were lots of lags in the Lightning parts of things. If you currently go to Lightning Explorer and then you look at the map of the Lightning node maps in the world, you're going to see that Africa is really, really dark, right? Every other part has been lightened up by Lightning, but in Africa, it's still very, very bad. And then when we saw this, I mean, it's not, well, we decided, okay, how can we change this? Then we started with free routing nodes. We said, okay, cool. To start, we're going to start by lightening up Africa. So we set up free routing nodes in different countries in Africa. Our first node is actually Africa Free Routing, and it was sponsored by Voltage. It's technically not in Africa, so it's hosted on Voltage. So basically, it is in America. So after that, we decided to start running Lightning nodes. And like I've said, the major mission, the mission we had was basically to build Africa's fastest, cheapest, and most reliable Lightning node network. We were running free routing nodes, and we started with the very first one, which was actually in Africa. It was a Nigeria free routing node. And the crazy story about it is that the process of starting the node was very, very unique when you compare to other parts of the world, because we have unique challenges in Africa. And what exactly was our model? It was quite simple. We run free routing nodes, we sell inbound liquidity for a fee, and then we channel the fee to actually incentivize people to learn about Bitcoin, Africans. So basically, we were bribing people to love Bitcoin, actually. And that really worked. We saw a lot of people show interest. We have a Bitcoin for Beginners course that was running. And we were giving out 10,000 sats for everybody that goes through the course and then take the final quiz and score up to 70% and above. We reward you with 10,000 sats. But as humans, being humans, we saw people started to take advantage of that. Someone would create multiple accounts with multiple emails just so they can get the sats from us. And we decided to look into that. So in 2023, when I was here on the stage, as at the time, our little project had grown to about 4 Lightning nodes in 4 different countries in Africa. And we had a total of 8 BTC. It might not look like much to you guys, but to us, it was really, really big in total capacity across about 240 channels. And thankfully, I'd like to also give a shout out to Bitfinex, because 1 BTC out of that 8 BTC actually came from Bitfinex. They created a channel. We had so many people love what we were doing, and then they supported us. It was really going well. And then we also paid out approximately 3 million sats in 3 million sats in incentives, basically for people to learn about Bitcoin. And it was going very well. And then something happened in 2024. We got hacked, actually. And how did we get hacked? Now, in Africa, to run a Lightning node, the safest way to run a Lightning node is you running it locally and managing it yourself, right? And in Africa, it's really, really hard to actually do that, because we have unstable internet, and then the power supply there is very crippled. So because of that, I remember when I started running the Nigeria free routing node, I was basically using a generator to power it up, and it was running on an old laptop I had at the time. So it was consuming a lot of bandwidth, and data is quite expensive back there in Africa. So we decided to move it to a VPS service provider. But we wanted it to be in Africa. So we wanted the IP address to show in Africa. Then we moved it to a VPS service provider. And that is where we were running the node. Unfortunately, things, when it comes to Africa, some things are not really the way they should be, actually. Then unfortunately, someone got access from the VPS part of things and then transferred our money from the node. So we got hacked, basically, and we lost about 80% of the funds we were bootstrapping. Mind you, we didn't get any funding from anywhere. It's just the funds we're using because of the passion we have to see this through. And then we lost about 80% of that, unfortunately. And we were almost, we almost quit, actually. And most of our team members, all of our team members, basically, not most, we decided to take our pay cut, actually, up to like 40% pay cut, just so we can survive. And that's the very beautiful thing about our team. I am very, very proud of the team we work with. It is a very small team, but there are people that are really, really passionate about Bitcoin. When the issue of taking a pay cut to survive came up, they didn't really reject, basically, because we knew we needed to go through this part. And that was how it was. But then we decided, okay, if we don't have the funds to run Lightning nodes, there are other better ways we can use. I mean, our vision is basically to advance Lightning network in Africa. Then we pivoted, and then we focused our energy on 2 things, basically. The first was to reach out to merchants, basically, and try to talk to them. Let them see why it is important for them to accept Bitcoin payments. Then the people that accepted and wanted to do that, we helped them set up the infrastructure for them. And then the second thing we did was running Lightning Developer Bootcamps, which is something that has actually really gained a lot of traction over the years. We started in 2022. The first Lightning Developer Bootcamp that we held was in Nairobi. And that is the two things we've currently been focusing on. Now, you might ask a question. Why did we choose Lightning Developer Bootcamp? I think I started by saying that in Africa, the problems we have are very, very unique. It is not the same problems that you are facing over here. I mean, if you've lived your whole life here, you probably wouldn't understand what it means to stay a whole week without electricity, or to stay, to have maybe around 1 hour, just 1 hour power supply in a day. I mean, that is what we go through especially my country and in most parts of Africa. So imagine having problems like that. And then also, there are people that are using, Bitcoin relies, most of the product that we build up here relies a lot on internet. But then you go to Africa, you see the internet is not very stable, right? It is slow. So if you're building a product, it has to work with the system the way it is over there. And people actually, that is why we decided, okay, cool. Let's bring developers out there. There are lots of developers. If you go to the other part of the ecosystem, the shitcoin ecosystem, there are lots of developers in Africa that are actively working, and they pay them good. But then what they are doing is not as impactful as what we are doing in Bitcoin. So we decided, let's bring these guys together. We focused on the people in the Web3, the other parts of the ecosystem, and also people in fintech. We bring them together, and then we train them on Lightning. The goal majorly was to expose them to Lightning. Of course, we know without Lightning, Bitcoin wouldn't get to where it is today. And then we did this just because of time. I'm just going to move further. Then we run these Lightning Developer Bootcamps. How we do it was basically we host a 5-day Lightning Developer Bootcamp, and it's in person, actually. We bring these developers together. We train them from the basics of Bitcoin, because we assume they don't know anything about Bitcoin, even though they are developers. So we start from the economics parts of Bitcoin to the technical parts of Bitcoin, and then we advance to Lightning Network. And we also end the bootcamp with a mini hackathon for every city we go through. And then we split the participants basically to small groups, have them brainstorm on ideas they could build, and also we encourage them to integrate Lightning to already existing open source projects. And we pick our instructors very carefully. Primarily, we prefer to pick people from Btrust, Btrust builders. So if you're not familiar with Btrust, Btrust is actually a non-profit organization that exists in Africa at the moment, and it was founded by Jack Dorsey and Jay-Z, and also funded by them. And their major goal is actually to raise the next generation of developers in the global south, sorry about that, developers and contributors to the Bitcoin ecosystem. So they have a pool of developers they've trained. Many of them have gone to build great products already. So we reach out to these guys, and then we use them for our bootcamps. We also award certificates for the people that participate. And then at the end of the day, because Btrust have longer pathways for them to go through. 5 days, you can only teach so much. You can't really cover everything they need to know about Lightning in 5 days. So at the end of the bootcamps, we funnel them to Btrust. The people, we've sparked the interest in them, and then we funnel the people that are interested to go through the longer pathways in Btrust Builders program. And that's how it's been going so far. For our reach, we've been able, since 2024 when we started, we've been able to train around 200 developers, and we've gone to now 7 cities in Africa, and we've built over In our boot camps with the hackathons that has been hosting, we've seen about 20, over 20 projects built. My brother Brandon was here, and he was speaking about the East Africa yesterday. And one of the projects, or one of the products that he showcased as impactful in the eastern part of Africa was actually a product that was one of the hackathon's project that we had from the very first bootcamp we held in Nairobi. So these are the kind of things that actually gives us joy to continue. So we've gone to Zambia, we've gone to Benin, we've gone to Kenya, South Africa, Nigeria, and Ghana. So the next bootcamp is coming up next month, and it's going to be in the southern part of Nigeria. And we've had people that actually believed in our vision. So when we first started out, we had to reach out. I mean, at the time, we lost 80% of the funds. We couldn't exactly fund this bootcamp. So we needed people to help us, people that believed in what we want to do, to help us fund the bootcamp. Then we reached out to some of these partners, and luckily for us, they saw the value in what we are offering, and they came on board to sponsor. One of our biggest sponsors at the moment is Beatrice, which I've mentioned. Then OpenSat and Theta Africa also came on board. And IBEX, we're one of the first sponsors we had for the very first bootcamp that we hosted. And then we have Plan B Network, we have Blink, and of course, African Bitcoiners and Fedi. So these sponsors are actually the ones that has actually helped us to move this vision further. Now, to the lessons we've learned, right, about running these boot camps, we've gone to 5 and 6, up to 7 different cities in Africa. Some of the lessons we've learned are here. Number 1, copy and paste solutions don't exactly work in Africa. I've mentioned a couple of times that the problems we face in Africa is very different from what you guys, people over here are facing, right? There is a product which Brandon mentioned yesterday called Mechankura that actually allows people to use Bitcoin without the internet, right? You see, we have the problem of internet, and there are a lot of people that are using mobile phones that are called feature phones. An example is here. There are so many people that are using this type of mobile phone. It is not internet enabled. But then we have a product built by an African that allows you to send and receive Lightning without the internet. So those are the kind of solutions we need. Now, those solutions cannot come from people that have not lived in Africa to experience what we have been experiencing. So that is why we say the solutions that is built outside cannot work in Africa. We have to think from the ground up, look at the problems, and then think solutions around those problems. And then progress in Africa doesn't exactly look like Silicon Valley. I think that is self-explanatory. We have deaf talent. This is something that I have seen. Sincerely, we have so many deaf talents in Africa, a lot of them. And funny enough, they are not just there. They are hungry to learn, and they are also hungry to contribute. But what they are lacking is this mentorship, the programs like this that could actually bring them together and give them the right skill that they need. So we have so many talents over there, and our challenges I've mentioned are unique. And then another key thing that we also notice is that for Africans, right, people love incentives. I think that is one of the reasons why when we started running our Bitcoin for Beginners course, we had to incentivize people to learn about Bitcoin. I think it's the same thing generally. There are people that are passionate, they want to build, but at the end of the day, if they are not incentivized enough, then they are not going to stay to work on this project that we are looking at. People outside too, like I mentioned, the shitcoin part of the ecosystem, they incentivize developers a lot. I mean, they pay good money, right, for them to work. It's quite easy because they make this money in a very easy way. But over here, it doesn't really work like that. I've spoken to developers. I've seen that they would actually want to do more, actually, if they are incentivized very well. So why is Africa a lightning testbed? I think most of the things that are listed here, I've already mentioned them already. Now, this is the setup I had when I ran our very first lightning node in Nigeria. It wasn't the first, but it was the first active lightning node. You can see the old laptop and the generator that we used to power the lightning node, and of course, the internet-enabled Wi-Fi that we used to run our lightning node. This is how solutions are built in Africa, so it is not exactly the same way outside. So what exactly is our plan for 2026? We plan to expand our lightning nodes to more countries, lightning developable camps to more countries. We plan to run 10 more developable camps in 2026, and we also plan to reach over 200 more developers and train them, and of course, continue to funnel them to the B-Trust Builders program, and also host more challenges for developers. So not just hackathons. We want developers to contribute to open source projects. We want them to integrate Lightning. There are so many open source projects out there that could make use of Lightning. So that is what we are actually looking at for 2026. So I'm making a call to everyone over here. If you'd like to be a part of what we are doing, either to partner with us to co-host the bootcamp in Africa. I mean, our cities are within Africa, and or sponsor a city, or even to support a project. Because like I said, we have numerous projects that are built during this hackathon. So please join us and partner with us today. We'll be very, very happy to have you on board. Thank you very much.
Thank you.